White people have never built their own houses, farmed their own farms, worked manual labor in the history of the United States. So when all the workers are deported and there's no one else here to fulfill that role, because Americans, especially the ones that look like me, are not going to do manual labor for $5, $3, whatever. That's statistics and predictions of literally AI bots who are smarter than humans. It's not looking good for us. We as American citizens collectively have to put it in to this corrupt administration.
Dear ICE agents, please continue deporting illegal immigrants who don't belong here. Americans appreciate your hard work. Thank you very much, and a special salute to you all. Have a blessed night.
Hello brothers and sisters, I really hope you're all doing fine from wherever you're watching me from now. Historically, American society was structured with racial hierarchies. White Americans at the top, followed by other groups, and the black Americans often positioned at the bottom. Now, for centuries, systematic racism, redlining, discrimination, and exclusionary policies limited other races from achieving it. However, due to resilience and hard work, other minority races or other races can still make it, and the black community has shown this. Let's watch this video, then have a really quick discussion at the end of it. Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm going to try to hold this together. Just in light of our current climate and what's going on with ICE and the mass deportations, I thought it might be really beneficial to share with you your rights if ICE approaches you. So whether you're an immigrant or you're just a brown person who was born in this country, if ICE comes to your home and knocks on your front door, you do not have to answer the door unless they have a judicial warrant. You do not have to answer, so just don't open the door and don't go outside. Next, if they ask for any documentation from you, your immigration status, your ID, your birth certificate, you do not have to give them anything. You don't even have to speak to them. If they ask you questions about your immigration status or where you were born, you can say that you're just not going to talk. You do not have to talk to them. You do not have to answer the door, and you do not have to give them any documentation. I'm so sorry this is happening. I apologize for the emotions. I live in Oceanside, California, and ICE came to Oceanside this morning and started taking parents as they were dropping their children off to elementary school. I just don't understand how anyone can think this is okay or that this is better for our country. This is not to get rid of criminals. That is not the MO here. These people are our neighbors. These people are the man who works in my apartment complex who gives the little kids candy. These people sell me my coffee in the morning. They make the best concha. There's an old lady who was born in Mexico who always throws in an extra concha for me every time I go. These people are our friends in our community, and for a lot of us in Southern California, they're very intertwined in our culture and our everyday life. I love the Hispanic culture in Oceanside. We have lowriders, we have the best food, we have the best music, and that's all due to the Hispanic influence in my town. So the fact that we want to get rid of these people is something I will never understand. I will wrap this up if you've even made it this far through my crying and snotting. Good on ya. But I want to share what us white people can do at this time. So definitely record. If you see ICE raids going on, you're allowed to pull out your phone and take a video of the horrible treatment and what's going on. So definitely do that. I know money's tight for a lot of us right now, but you can donate. Anything helps. There's a couple great organizations, one being RACES. I think it stands for Refugee and Immigrant Education and Legal Services. Donate to organizations like that. Use your voice. You can call your local representatives. We're very lucky here in California California, our representatives, Gavin Newsom, is riding for us. You can also protest, use your voice that way. There's a protest going on in Oceanside this Friday. So if you want to show up and protest and make a great sign, that's awesome. Lastly, I would just say help locally. A lot of families who are affected by ICE raids lose things overnight. You can help with rides. You can help with childcare. There's a lot we can do. I think we're all in this together. I think what makes America so beautiful is how diverse we are, and that we don't all look the same, and we don't all act the same, and we don't all believe these same things. But I think bottom line is these are human beings, and we need to restore humanity, because this is not okay. We learned in elementary school about the Holocaust, and it seems to me we were all very appalled by it in my classes, and it's happening again right now, and we can make a difference so that we're not written about in history groups after eliminating a whole population of people. So please help, please make a difference. It all matters.
I'm gonna die on this hill that America is horrible because of white people. I'm gonna absolutely die on that hill. No tea, no shade. No, fuck that. All the tea, all the shade, disrespectfully. I truly don't understand how white people get up every day and look at themselves in the mirror. Because I genuinely think that there are good white people out here. However, you are the remnants of your ancestors, and that's just something that you're going to have to deal with. Which is why y'all commit suicide in a majority according to the CDC site. You commit suicide in the majority because even though the system caters to you and you have everything, you can't live with yourself. You can't live with the remnants of your ancestors. You can't sit with that. So the minute you get a little pushback, it's a lot for you to take because you're not accustomed to being resilient like people of color. You're not accustomed to that. Which is why psychologically and mentally white people are weak. Don't shoot the messenger. The truth hurts. Oh yeah, and one last thing before I really truly land a plane. I got to say one more thing. And another thing, there's nothing truly that you white people can be proud of. Like, you can't be proud of nothing. You can't be proud of your existence. You can't be proud of your history because you really don't have a history that you can truly stand on. You have stole and unalived people and done the most heinous, egregious shit to people just so you can survive to this day. You have nothing you can be proud of. And that alone, if I lived in that agony every day, that would make me commit suicide. A lot of times I have to turn my hate for you guys until extending grace. Because the bottom line is, you being hateful is all you know. That's all you know. And it's nothing that we can do with you all if you have been operating out of hate your entire lives. Like, that's who y'all are. And that's what black folks are not understanding. This is why y'all black people need to stop coming up here going back and forth with them. It is embedded in their DNA. They're committed to not understanding our struggle. They're committed to not understanding that what their ancestors did is the direct result of why they are the way that they are to this day. They're committed to not understanding that. And once y'all black folks understand and overstand that shit, then a lot of things will start making sense. Y'all got it, Ro?
I'm white and homeless and I refuse to apply for food stamps. Man, you know what's odd with that? And I wasn't even gonna make a video today. I was gonna take a break because I know I've been getting on them Africans too much. But let me talk to this white man. When I ride down the street in Dallas, right, or just ride around, and I see homeless black people, I feel sorry for them. You know, I always throw a couple dollars at them. But when I see homeless white people, I be like, how? How? Like, what happened? They just follow me, people. Hey, this is an ignorant video. I get it. Y'all can call me whatever. But I just be looking like, how? What happened? What happened? You got $1 million worth of skin and you squandered it. But there are black Americans out here that still getting it and doing their best to get it. But it's hard for me to feel sorry sometimes to when I see them YT people, can I get a couple dollars? It's just hard for me. It's just hard for me. The advantage that y'all have, how? What happened? That's what I want to know. Like, what happened? And I know this is an ignorant thing to say because in life things happen, right? Then I look at the welfare system, right? Y'all number one in getting welfare assistance in America. So I'm like, how? Like, how? Why are you holding this? Like, how? You get what I'm saying? Like, this the privilege that y'all have in life. Listen, I can be a well-to-do black man and a poor YT man can still beat me in the court of law. If I do something to him, there's a 9 times out of 10 that poor YT man gonna win. And I got all the money in the world, all the lawyers in the world. How? That's shit. And I know it's ignorant, man. I get it, man. Life happens, man. But it's hard for me to feel sorry, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you, but that's all I had to say. That couple just kind of triggered me a little bit. I don't know why. That just triggered me a little bit. She like, how? Like, it's more YT people homeless than black people, but still just how low, like, damn. Early morning talk. But I'm gonna get back on you, Africa. I was gonna take a break today. I wasn't gonna post for the rest of the week, but I think I'm gonna post a little bit. 'Cause I see a couple Africans in my post that's tripping. But yeah, explain it to me, white people. Like, how? Just how?
So I'm not really sure how I made it over to the white men crying on video about their finances side of TikTok. But I was over there for a little bit. And at first I was like laughing because it's like FAFO, right? Because like y'all voted for this and now it's affecting you. But then I started to think like these are normally the people that and so to see them online in this much disarray where they're on video crying in full tears about their finances and how mad they are. Y'all be safe out here.
Assalamu alaikum and hello. I need to reference all of the Muslims that do not live in the United States of America. I do not know if you receive our algorithm or the UK, like EU in general, Right now, there is an insane influx of white supremacists who are screaming for the end of, just the deportation of Muslims, saying that we're trying to take over the world, and they're asinine, very insane people. So you may see videos like you stumbled upon mine. I would never make fun of being Muslim. I am a very proud Muslim. I am making fun of the fact that they are so off base. There is no compulsion in Islam. They are having boycotts and actually making death threats and bomb threats to Dearborn, Michigan, because Dearborn, Michigan has a couple places where they play the adhan out loud, like from a masjid. So, كل احترام. My bad if I am offending anybody. I do not believe in any of this stuff about Muslims. This is going around American For You pages, and we don't have other countries' For You pages. We only have American. We're restricted amongst everyone. So you can see this, I can't see yours. Unless you comment on something, I will never see anything that you post. It is extremely disheartening, and sometimes I have to laugh off the trauma, because being in the West as a Muslim is hard.
Imagine you are the lead person at work who is directly the cause for why thousands of families are being separated.
No, imagine you're a father bringing your kids across the border illegally and then wondering why you're being separated from your children. Imagine that. Imagine putting your family in harm's way while crossing the border illegally, then also trying to swim across the Rio Grande with your children that may drown and you may possibly get them unalived. Imagine that. Imagine once you get to that country illegally and you've lived there for over 10 years, and then 10 years later when they finally start following the laws of that country and kicking people out that are here illegally, you start burning that flag that's given you so much opportunities and flying your flag from your original country that you wanted to leave so bad because it was horrible over there. And then imagine, after all those years of being in this country that gave you so many opportunities, still not getting legalized in this country. Imagine that.
Good morning, guys. So I'm sure a lot of you have heard that Donald Trump, in classic idiotic fashion, is trying to do away with the 14th Amendment, birthright citizenship, which basically states that anyone born on U.S. soil is automatically a U.S. citizen. He's saying that the 14th Amendment only applies to former slaves, former enslaved people, not to migrants. So basically what he's saying is that if you were born here and if you were descended from immigrants, that law doesn't apply to you. Sounds like Donald Trump only wants black people to be American citizens. Is that what you're getting at, Mr. Trump?
For fellow European Americans, other white people on this app, want to try to drive a point home. This is already going to be a longer one, so hit the 2x. When Donald Trump yesterday said that he will work on deporting homegrown U.S. citizens, this is my experience, and I'm going to lay out a duality that is my life. My immediate family, the family that lives in my home, is a multiracial family. Now, I learned years back that white people, yes, I know I'm white, so I'm including myself in it, aren't fucking trustworthy. Now, when I go out in public with my family, I know any Trump supporter that makes, any white Trump supporter that makes themselves well known, wearing a shirt, a hat, or whatever, is a direct threat to my family. Also, any white person that I see out in public, because I don't know who they voted for, if they're not wearing any indicators, is a direct threat to my family. Because if we're talking about, if Trump's talking about homegrown, trying to get rid of American citizens, he has MAGA so convinced that anybody that isn't white is automatically a threat, is automatically a criminal, even though he's the fucking criminal. That all it takes is one phone call from a white person. Just one phone call. To get the cops out there who are violent towards black, indigenous people of color. Could get ICE involved, who's just looking for a reason to be in plain clothes and then fucking kidnap people off the street. So for me, any white person that's around me and my family out in the community presents a threat. Now this is in a way that I'll never be able to feel to a certain extent, because I'm not a black indigenous person of color in this country. So I can't even fully comprehend or physically feel in my body what that threat feels like. I know it up here intellectually, right? But again, it's not even remotely close. It's not even the same universe as somebody that's black, indigenous, or a person of color in this country. But I have to keep my family safe. So for me, that defaults to seeing every fucking white person at the grocery store, out at a different store, out in the community, walking on the sidewalk. I have to do a risk assessment every fucking time I'm out with my family. Now, the duality piece is, I'm viewed in the same way, right? I don't have a choice. I am in a white body, 6 foot, like 280, covered in tattoos. So I also recognize I'm also automatically identified as a threat. Even though I fucking hate Trump, I've been talking about it for 10 years, it doesn't matter. Nobody can tell by just looking at me. And so I have to sit with them. I have to be mindful of my interactions, how I navigate being outside, being in my community. And the people in my community that I know I will show up for them immediately. But that doesn't mean everyone else in the community that doesn't know me, they don't know that.
New York City is a poverty loop, and this is exactly why I'm leaving. So I a few months ago, saw this video by Nick Shirley. I'm going to put it down here, and it's talking about the rich versus the poor inside of New York, right? Now, the reason why living in New York City is not sustainable is because unless you are on some type of public assistance, housing assistance, food stamps, Medicaid, whatever it is, you cannot elevate. You literally can only elevate if you leave, right? Getting off of the system will leave you paycheck to paycheck, especially if you are a single parent. Now, of course, this is not going to be for everyone depending on what job you have, but the average person in New York City, especially if you are a single mother or if you have children, you're on the system, right? You're having housing support, food stamps, Medicaid, whatever it is, voucher programs, all of these things. I'm leaving because once you reach a certain level, you're going to realize that the amount of money you are paying to stay in New York makes no sense. The taxes that you pay makes no sense. Once you get off the system completely, it makes no sense to stay here because the quality of living will never get better. It's just not, the city is literally getting worse and worse, right? Now, I know that everyone can't just up and leave, but I'm telling you all to really look at your situation, understand where you are, try to get off the system as much as possible, because if not, you are going to be in a loop. There are so many people out there who don't want to make more than the $300 or $500 a week just because they don't want to lose their benefits. And I completely understand it, because once you lose those benefits, it makes no sense. It's like you're getting $700, $1,000 in food stamps. You're having your rent paid for. Maybe it's based on your income. And the second you do better, you lose everything. There's not even wiggle room to try to gradually increase everything. It's just everything gets taken away, right? It's like you need to go from poverty to above 6 figures to sustain inside of the city. That middle area, you are living paycheck to paycheck, and it is going to be very difficult because you're going to be making too much to get benefits, but making too little to actually enjoy life. So if you're seeing this is probably your sign to move out of New York City. I'm not sure where you're going, but I'm moving to no other state. I am moving out of the country. So I'm sending everybody love, and I completely agree that New York is a poverty loop.
I give it 1 month until a white, American-born U.S. citizen gets deported.
So this has happened before. Did you know that the US government deported an American-born woman to the Soviet Union just because she married a communist? This was during the Palmer raids in 1919 when thousands of immigrants and radicals were arrested and deported. Justin Manko, a Russian-born labor organizer and socialist, was one of them, but his wife was born in the US. She had automatically lost her citizenship under the Expatriation Act of 1907, a law that stripped American women of their citizenship if they married a non-citizen. Any American woman who marries a foreigner shall take the nationality of her husband. So the government used that claim to say that she was no longer a citizen and deported her with him to the USSR. No hearing or due process. And it's important to note many of these people shipped off to the USSR were not from that area. In fact, they purposefully dropped them off on the border with Finland. This is at a time with active border conflicts that would lead to the Winter War. Anyways, she was an American, and her love for a communist made her disposable. What makes you think they won't do it again?
Hello, brothers and sisters. I really hope you're all doing fine from wherever you're watching me from now. Historically, American society was structured with racial hierarchies. Now, white Americans at the top, followed by other groups, and black Americans often positioned at the bottom. Now, for centuries, systematic racism, redlining, discrimination, and exclusionary policies limited black advancements. However, in the recent days, we are seeing a change in this, that we are seeing the rise of successful black entrepreneurs, entertainers, and public figures. Now, the rise of the black community and other minorities in the US, both in politics, in the economic sector, and in the social life, has raised a lot of concerns. And this is actually not sitting well with majority of the people, as you all know, because the US was structured in a given way that it's only some of the people who will be at the top, and others structured at the middle, and others at the bottom of the system. But things are now changing. We are seeing a lot of the black community now rising, being successful in entrepreneurship, being successful in the entertainment business, and in the public sector. How is this even working? Because the people who are structured and who are meant to be at the bottom are now at the top. What really changed? Now, I really want to take this time to welcome you back into this channel. And this is where we say the truth with no biasness. The black community has suffered in the hands of the systems around the world. That's true. Starting from racism, starting from our oppression in the economic, in the political sector, and every other place. They have been downlooked at for a very long time. We've seen this playing part, and it has actually been playing in Africa too, and every other place where the black dominance has taken place. But let's talk about whatever is happening in the US and why the dynamics are changing at the moment, and why this could affect the way the US will be structured in the next few years. The black community is taking the US by a storm, both in the entertainment sector, entrepreneurship, and in the public space. For example, Obama came in and became the president. No one really expected that. We've been having entrepreneurs like Jay-Z, entrepreneurs who have changed the way the black community has been viewed, billionaires too. Now, we are having entertainment and entertainers at the same time. Those who play basketball, those who entertain us with pop music, and those who entertain us with R&Bs and any other sector, football, soccer, and all these other games. This actually means a lot. It means that the dynamics and the structures of the world, the way the system was structured and meant to be, is now changing. The black community is coming out to show that they can make it, and they can do it themselves, that they do not need anyone to help them be at the top, that despite all these other things that has happened to them, they can still rise and make it in life. Now, we have the growth of black-owned businesses and increased representation in professional and political spaces. I remember one of the most talked debates was should the blacks be considered in the DEI? But later on, people argued that the black community should not be taken as a vulnerable community, that they can do things by themselves. They do not need to be represented in a special way or to be done favors, because most of them have survived in an environment full of biasness, but with a lot of resilience. They have done this for years, for 400 years. What do you really expect of them? They have been in very difficult situations, but they have managed to get out in a good way. They have managed to come out victorious. So was DEI really needed by the black community? Now, let's say this. For example, we've had a country that was very biased to this community. A country that even when you had the certificates and the qualifications to show that you can actually apply for the job or get the job, you couldn't. But later on, we are seeing a world which has revolved, a world where the black community can be given equal chances, not be given, but they can achieve these opportunities, not because of the favors, not because of racial integration or racial equality, but because of their qualification. You remember when Charlie Kirk was saying that when he sees a black person as the pilot, he will be asking, was he given a favor or he qualified for the job? I now get about it that the black community has been looked down upon for a very long time. And this is the time we should actually focus on the greatness of the black community. Now, we are seeing a cultural shift that values black creativity and resilience globally. I've said that time to time, that the black community has adapted to the hardship that has happened to them all these years. And this has given them a rough skin, to protect themselves against the worst that can come out of that economy in the US and across the world. This has given them resilience. They are now very resilient to some of the things. We really need to come out and unite. We really need not to look down upon other communities for doing well or for being better than us, but to emulate whatever they are doing and copy from them. They say that if you can't beat them, you join them. If you cannot win a war, you surrender. This is not a war. This is not a competition, but you can always copy from whatever or learn from whatever your friends are doing that you haven't done, even with the privilege that you've had for a very long time. We've been talking about privileges, and some people have been dismissing that there have not been privileges in the US, that people who have been said to have these privileges actually didn't have the privileges. You must be very careful when you're talking, because there are a lot of evidence that shows you other communities or some other races received privileges than other races or the minority in the US. Now, talking about this, we have the economic frustration and competition. Now, many working class Americans across races feel the effects of economic inequality, job outsourcing, automation, and inflation. When black Americans make visible progress, that's, I'm talking about buying homes, starting businesses, and gaining influence. That's it. Those already under economic stress can feel resentment or jealousy, thinking, why them and not us? And that's whatever has been happening, that we have inflation in the US for a very long time. And we've had people losing their jobs, automation because of robots and machines, For example, when you go at the gas stations, there is a lot of automations. No one is there working there. Now, when this is happening, a lot of people tend to lose their jobs. But most of them are now asking with a lot of resentment and with a lot of some kind of jealousy that why is there success in the black community? Why are other communities still making it in these hard economic times? Why are they making it even when there is inflation? Now, we must go back to time and we must learn how these things started coming by. I talked about white privilege and I talked about scarcity mentality. And I've always been saying scarcity mentality is the fact that other people cannot think outside the box. They cannot really think that you can achieve success with hard work, that you only need privileges, you only need connections to survive. Now, this is one of the reasons that I've been talking about the black excellence and the black success for a very long time, that they didn't need connections. They didn't need someone to know them or someone to do them a favor or someone to give them a privilege. They came all the way from down to the top with resilience and hard work. And that tells us a lot, that with these qualities, patience, resilience, hard work, and discipline, we are meant to do it in life. We are meant to go places and achieve our goals in life. It doesn't really matter about the environment, because if we talk about a hard economic times when the black really managed well, it is this one. If we talk about resilience, it is the black community that have shown resilience over time, and other minority groups in the US. We are having power dynamics and power shifts in the US, and this should also be studied. Thank you so much for having taken your time to watch this video. I really appreciate it. If it's your first time on the channel, please consider subscribing, sharing, and commenting on this video. Thank you.